Hey, what's up guys, WiseGuyVito here, and today I have an tier list video for you guys, and this will be secondary weapons against the Terminated faction. For the most part, I feel like secondaries are very, very good, but I do think that there is particularly like two that are kind of lacking, and we'll kind of go over which ones are actually very, very good against Terminateds and which ones are not so good against Terminateds. We'll go over that in the video. So like, share, and subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. So before we start, let's go to the tiers. S tier is this secondary, kind of fills a particular niche, but it also performs very, very well against the Terminateds. Either it has really good damage, it's got really good armor pen, it's very versatile, or it fits a particular role very, very well against Terminateds, and it will actually save you on maybe even some stratagem slots, or just it really does well against the Terminateds overall. A tier it's above average. It may have some problems against Terminateds. It may not be particularly that great against Terminateds, but the performance of the gun is still very, very good. Or like just overall, it is not as good, or is not as a high tier performance as S tier. B tier is kind of like a plain Jane gun. I think there's only particularly one, and we all know what the plain Jane gun is right now. And to be honest with you, you know, it kind of feels average, nothing really special to it. C tier kind of feels kind of bad, maybe underperforming a little bit. Definitely needs buffs into the future. And then D tier is a dookie tier. This is the poopy tier. This is really, really bad. Definitely needs to see some reworks or some changes to it in order to make it very, very good. And so, you know, until they make those changes to it, you know, these guns are gonna kind of don't want to bring them on the Terminated side of things. So with that explanation out of the way, let's kind of get straight into the tier list. So the Bushwhacker, I actually do think is probably A tier, on the high end of A tier in my opinion. I think the only problem with this weapon is that you have 3 shots and then you have to reload. But if you have something that's kind of in your face that's more tankier, you can swap to fire all 3 barrels at once. And I do think that that actually has some versatility to the weapon. Other than that, I think that's where that weapon stops at. It's just raw stopping power, and to me, like, that feels like an above average gun in my opinion, and it does make it stand out a lot. But I don't think it's S tier worthy in my opinion. It doesn't handle hordes real well. It's just mainly just something that if something is big up in your face, like a brew commander, nursing spewer, even like a bile spewer, you know, like those kind of like tankier bugs, I think that this weapon shines in those scenarios. But other than that, I think that's where this weapon kind of falls off at, because, you know, it doesn't have spray and pray. It doesn't have that kind of horde clear capability to it. It's just kind of just like it stops the biggest thing that's kind of like right in front of you for it. So in that case, I'm kind of putting it in A tier currently. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section, what you think about the Bushwhacker. But in my experience, I think that it's above average. The Crisper is definitely S tier. I would pair this up with a Torture a lot, and I do have a video kind of showcasing the Torture and the Crisper and just like a pure flame build, like a pure pyro build in my opinion. But I do think that this secondary, I mean, like, it chews through chargers, has armor pen 4, you know, as a secondary, right? And I do think that this is very, very good, and it has actually good horde clear potential, because you can just spray the ground with fire as you're running away, and it actually works pretty well against the Terminateds. I would say definitely wear fire armor, and that will definitely help you out whenever you're going up against Terminateds, because like you'll be setting yourself on fire a lot, so kind of work through the pain of it. But definitely bring it on the Terminated side of things, and definitely bring this on fire builds, because it does actually work pretty well. The dagger is definitely, it's kind of like on the low end of A tier in my opinion, into B. It does set things on fire. It has limited ammo to it, but I think the problem with this weapon overall is that I kind of feel like it's not really good for horde clearing overall. But it does set things on fire very, very well, but you kind of have to shoot the thing like a lot. Well, I would say a lot, but just enough to set it on fire, and then you can kind of just walk away and watch it burn. But for the most part, you know, I think it's fine. You know, I'm kind of like iffy on it in my opinion, but whenever I do bring it on Terminateds, I don't have that great of success for it. But I see other folks having great success with it, so that's why I'm putting in A tier. The grenade pistol, I do think is S tier. Fantastic utility for closing up bug holes. You could bring stun grenades because it opens up kind of like that grenade slot to kind of, you can kind of, you know, bring other grenades other than just explosive grenades to close bug holes, because the grenade pistol, you know, does that. And it does kind of well against like a small group of enemies, because you can just fire it in there and it blows them up. Same thing with nursing spewers. This one is actually kind of good against nursing spewers, but you kind of have to use two grenades in order to kill a nursing spewer or bile spewer. So overall, I think this weapon has fantastic utility. It's more of like a utility gun than anything else, and it does fulfill and excels at that particular role as secondary against the Terminated faction. The stim pistol. So the stim pistol would be S tier if mechanically the game was better as far as you getting hurt, right? Currently, right now, I still feel like I get two-shot by bugs still, and this is pre-60 day, because they made just overall players more, like, way more squishier than usual. So until they make that change, I'm gonna have to put it in C tier, because it's not completely like dog shit. It's not. There are definitely some use cases for it to where it actually works very well. Like if you have a friend that's kind of lagging behind, you know, you turn around, you shoot him once, and then he has full stam again, and he sprints, right? You know, and there are times where you can heal your teammates and stuff like that with it, and it does work off of the improved stem booster as well. I just think that currently, with you and your team being way more squishier and being able to still get two-shot by enemies, especially on the Terminated side of things, I just feel like it's not that great against Terminates specifically. I feel like better on automatons, because with automatons, at least you're getting shot from range, and then you can say, hey buddy, you know, hit me up with something, and they hit you. Like, you don't get necessarily two-shot in automaton. Either you're insta-killed or you get beamed down multiple times, right? With Terminateds, if they're in your face, and if you get hit, you usually get hit like 2 to 3 times, and there's really nothing you can do to kind of like save your teammate in that scenario. Other than that, like in my opinion, the pistol on Terminateds is more or less sort of like to kind of like refill the stamina on your team, and that's it. And until they make those mechanical changes with characters not getting two-shot, I think that this weapon is definitely going to fall off more on the secondary side of things. But other than that, like, it's a fantastic idea for a support weapon. I just think that it needs definitely some help, but not necessarily the gun itself, but just the overall mechanics of the game currently. And until they do that, it's going to kind of be in a C tier position for me. The Peacekeeper, plain Jane, kind of boring. There's nothing really special to it. Starter pistol, kind of, it needs to be B tier in my opinion. Like, there need to be kind of like all the standard guns in this game, even the Liberator, are B tier, right? There needs to be something you can kind of have a baseline for, to, okay, this is where boring lies and this is where unique lies, and the Peacekeeper is definitely a boring gun, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Average performance, everything's average about the gun. So if you want to bring it, you can, but there's obviously, in my opinion, if you want a pistol, there's one that is far beyond better than this, like by far, and you should definitely take it on Terminated missions. The Redeemer is still S tier. They increased the recoil of it, but yeah, I don't feel it still, after they made that patch, but that was like months ago. Very good at beating down hordes of enemies, in my opinion. So like if you have like 3 or 4 hunters coming to you, you can for the most part take out those hunters very, very quickly. It's a nice burst option for you, but it's only for when, you know, enemies are kind of like very close up on you. But other than that, it's still very good. Definitely still use it on the Terminateds. The Verdict is S tier now. Fantastic damage. I think they buffed the durable damage to it as well, and it is armor pen, which means you can handle Hive Guardians, you can handle Bile Spewers with this. It does very, very well, very, very well against hordes as well. And it's definitely, in my opinion, this is the upgrade to the Peacekeeper. So once you get the War Bond with the Verdict, I would drop the Keeper immediately and pick up the Verdict. That will be your new gun from now until the end of time, because it is very versatile as a secondary weapon. But overall, very, very good gun against the Terminids, and in my opinion, it's also a very, very good gun against the Automatons as well. It's just overall just a fantastic weapon. Kind of shores up kind of your weaknesses overall with power and versatility. In my opinion, I think the Verdict is definitely the best secondary in the game currently, but definitely use the Verdict way more often than you should. If you're not using it, and if you don't have it, you definitely want to start using it, or get the War Bond that comes with it. And of course, the Senator. Senator is S tier, armor pen 4, amazing damage, doing 200 damage per shot. It's got a speed reloader to it. It has really good durable damage to it. So armor pen 4, of course, is you can damage chargers and Bio Titans with it. I don't suggest you use it as a charger and Bio Titan killer because you use a lot of ammo. I think for one charger leg, I think it's around 25-30 bullets ish to rip off a charger leg, generally speaking. Other than that, that's it. You know, it's not that great against chargers and Bio Titans, but the option is definitely there, right? But other than that, no, like the Senator is very, very good. It's very against spewers of any kind, so nursing and bile. It's also really good against Hive Guardians, in which like you can just two-shot them, which is really, really good. And of course, Hive commanders, you can just two-tap their faces off, and then they just die. It will one-shot any gray kind of like bug, you know, like the little gray bug or whatever. It'll one-shot them. Just one-shot them. This is a very, very good gun. As to be honest with you, it's very good as a cleanup gun. But if it was just a cleanup gun, I would probably put it in A tier. But since it does have the armor pen 4 to it, and you know, you can kind of kill the bigger enemies way, way faster. And I think that's very, very good. So this is my tier list for secondaries against the Terminids. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below, where I'm right, where I'm wrong, and I'll be very interested to kind of see what y'all's opinions are on secondaries. So like, share, and subscribe. See you guys next time.